Some people believe that only 5 minutes of English practice every single day is not going to help you at all. But I think they're wrong. To become fluent in a language, to develop your language skills, the most important thing is consistency. So that is what we are doing here every single day, 5 minutes of British English listening practice. Today's topic, fears. So to start with, I'm going to ask you to write in the comments, what are your fears? What do you have a fear of? What are you afraid of? I used to be very, very afraid of spiders. I am definitely a lot better now. The big, hairy, scary ones definitely creep me out quite a lot, but I'm a lot better now with the smaller ones. I'm more than comfortable getting some paper and a glass and trapping the spider, sliding the paper underneath and chucking or throwing the spider outside. But definitely not the big scary ones. I couldn't do that still. But another very common fear is a fear of flying. And that's obviously quite understandable. I think it's not necessarily the fear of just being in the air, but it's when there is turbulence, for example, or when something seems like it's going wrong, or when the plane is taking off and the plane is landing. So I have had a few rough landings before when maybe the weather is bad or it's very windy, or I don't know, the pilot's not very good. I don't know. And the plane hits the ground with quite a jolt. So a jolt is like a sudden shock, like a physical shock that goes through the body. And that can be quite scary. And I can understand the fear of flying, but often the need or the desire, the want to travel somewhere outweighs the fear of flying. And I think it's one of those things that the more you do, the more comfortable you become doing it. If you think of flight attendants, they must be very, very used to it. And they must see a lot of people very, very scared on flights, which could be quite funny, I imagine. Unless there are lots of kids screaming. I don't think that would be very fun. Another one, snakes. Now, I don't know how many places, how many countries in the world have snakes, but even in a country that does have snakes, seeing snakes regularly, I don't think that happens that much. I don't know. In the UK, we don't really have snakes. You do get small snakes. I remember in my garden once when I was like 8, 7, 8, 9, something like that. There was like a small little snake, like a grass snake. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but a harmless thing really, and it's very small. Because when most people think of snakes, they think of a massive thing that rattles and that bites you and constricts you, so it wraps around you and strangles you and eats you, and that is pretty scary. That is very scary. But there are lots of other snakes, so maybe people with a fear of snakes, maybe really they only have a fear of big scary snakes. I have a list in front of me of some other common fears. Oh, claustrophobia, so a fear of small spaces or a fear of tight spaces. That's quite a good one. I think I think most people have this to an extent. So like whenever you're in a tight gap, like the idea of caving. So people that explore caves under the ground and they're crawling in very tight spaces without very much fresh air. That 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 does seem scary, but not not in the same way that being scared of spiders, not in the same way as being scared of spiders, but I can imagine it's very, very uncomfortable. And it's one of those things that as soon as you start to feel claustrophobic, you can't stop, and then you start panicking, and that's where it goes wrong. Oh, I can see another one here, fear of sharks. I think most people have a fear of sharks, but luckily enough, sharks don't live on the land where we live, so most people don't actually ever encounter sharks. I think they're just a scary animal because they're so, well, they can be so deadly. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. What do you have a fear of? What are you scared of? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow.